Howdy folks, my name's Casey. I'm here to take you on a little adventure. So this trip's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna get down to the mid-20s tonight. It's pretty chilly right now. It's in the lower 50s, upper 40s, right on there. We are trying out a couple things. I have a brand new tent that I've only set up in my backyard to make sure that it actually works. It doesn't have any poles with it. It uses your hiking poles. I'm also gonna try out a perimeter tripwire device around my camp, so if anything breaks it, it'll make a loud sound. So we'll give that a shot. I also didn't bring a GPS. The trails aren't too bad. We're only going like 3 miles in or something, so I think I can figure it out. Right now the trail's obvious. Hopefully it stays that way. Tonight's temperature is gonna be frigid cold. I love camping in the cold. It's a nice little challenge. It's gonna be fun to take you along with me. I hope you enjoy. Let's get going. The first stop on our hike is there's an old cemetery up here, so we're gonna check that out first, and then we'll cut over and try and find the camping area. The campsite is a walk-in site only. It's a primitive site. You can't reserve it. So hopefully there's nobody there. It's supposed to be so cold tonight that I highly doubt there's anybody else out here. So we'll see. It's about 2 miles down this trail to the campsite, but first we're gonna detour to Mansfeld Cemetery. All right, so we came up this trail, and we're headed that way, but the side trail to the cemetery, or graveyard, cemetery? Graveyard? Cemetery is this one right here. So yeah, it's not marked very well at all, but people have used it enough that I caught it. So we're gonna head that way, see if we can't find it. Oh yeah, here we are. Wow, that looks old. One new one in there. But we'll go in and check out the dates on these. All right, this place, somebody's come in here, made individual little crosses for all of them. Man, that wind is so strong. It's bringing the cold temperature too. It is just dropping so fast. All right, so this newest one right here, and this must have been, yeah, this is 1824 to 1897, so this has been redone, I think. Do you think a marble one would last that long without any wear? I mean, it looks like it's new. 130 years old right there. This main one is 129 years old, and these are all going to be similar era. I know a lot of times when it's just a post or a flat marker, this is like a child that died. But that's pretty much what all these are. They're all small. It's a pretty cool little graveyard. All right, this wind's blowing, it's cold. I'm ready to get to a spot where we can set up camp. We still have another 1.5 miles to go, so let's get back to the trail. You can see the treetops dancing there. This is a pretty cool terrain change. See the really open undergrowth. They must have done a controlled burn not too long ago. Just got the new palm fronds growing up. But Florida's so cool. Last week I was paddling through alligator infested swamps and hiking through Jurassic jungles. And today I'm in a brand new oak and pine forest right through here. Like nothing here is old at all. This cold weather has my nose running. It's kind of trying to not show that on camera, but yeah, it's brisk for sure. It's so windy. All right, good news. Definitely on the right path. Just came up on this sign. You have camping in 1 mile. Yeah, again, it's a primitive campsite that you can't reserve, so it's walk-in only, and first come, first serve there. So hopefully we're the only ones. About to find out. Oh, look at this interesting art. Someone made a big heart out of pine cones. That's fitting. Valentine's Day is next month. I don't know how strong this wind's blowing, but the wind chill tonight is going to be cold. If it's going to be in the 20s with the wind blowing this strong, hope this tent holds up. This will be good. All right, right up ahead I can see the sign for the camp. So let's get up here and we'll check this place out together. Okay, maintained by the Florida Trail Association. That's nice. So they don't say which way to go for it. Although that's the main trail that's yellow, and this is Blue Blaze, so I bet it's this way. Oh yeah, here we go. On this side, Jackson Camp, that way. All right, I don't know how far down it is this way, but we are kind of going downhill, so we're like a little valley, which will be great. That'll give us a little bit of wind protection. Hey, a couple doves. Well, those doves were a good sign. I was beginning to think I missed it. It's a long ways from that sign. Not a half mile, but pretty close to a half mile, I bet. But coming up to it now, nice little clearing, and not a lot of protection from the wind, so that's okay. But this is what we got. Looks like a little bench. It's nice. Ooh, and the way these trees are around here, this is gonna be perfect for the tripwire, the alarm system. All right, our home for the night. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, when I was hiking up here, I wore shoes, which, you know, these zeros are really nice, but my feet started to sweat, I could tell, and that's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get barefoot just so my feet can dry while the sun's still out. We still got about 2.5 hours of daylight, so use that as much as I can. All right, now that my feet are free from their foot prisons, I'm gonna set up the perimeter tripwire and show you guys what I got. But so, for my tripwires, I bought these off of, I think, Amazon years ago with the intent of doing this, to make a little tripwire thing around my camp, but I never used them. And they've been hanging by my front door on screws. I have 6 of them. And they've been just hanging there for years, and I've never used them. And I was walking past them, and I was like, oh, I should even see if these things still work. So I'll show you. Very loud, very high-pitched, annoying noise. But you can make tripwires out of them, and I have 60-pound fishing line. So I'll just run this around where I want it to go, and then if something comes through, it doesn't take but a couple pounds to pull that out. So should be fun. Yeah, looking, I got this tree right here, then this tree, and then the big oak here. Yeah, so each one of these is really tight, like it's ready to go. This one, the first one, I had it too loose, so I had to tighten it up like this. But yeah, that camera is mounted right in the very center, so that's where the tent's gonna go. So pretty big space. So I just grabbed this bag out of my pack, and it feels like there's a lot of extra room in there. So hopefully I put it all back in here. Oh man. I should know pretty quick. Nothing extra there. All right, well I got the tent poles or stakes. Okay, and it doesn't have a rain fly, it's all incorporated. Okay, it's all here. Good, it's all here. Woo! All right. On the foot end of the tent, there's this little tiny pole, and this just kind of lets the fabric come out so there's ventilation in there. And I didn't like the way the metal was touching the tent. So right here, it touched the tent. So I used heat shrink and put 3 layers of heat shrink on it. So now it's got a little pad there so it doesn't poke through the tent. Hopefully that works. When I set it up in my yard, I knew I was going to be using this pole. Yeah, but I marked the end with this line and labeled it tent. So now I just adjust this down to that line. And I know that's the length. All right. Set this, and the whole thing's relying on that line right there. Yeah, but then this comes out, so I got a nice vestibule. I'll show you the inside. I really like this tent. All right, so the one thing I did forget at home was the ground cloth, which would make this an actual floor instead of the ground. The inside, I knew it was gonna be cold, so I got my Thermarest, my good pad. It's a self-inflating, so I'll let that sit for a few minutes. But it's got the nice, like, little corner over here to put my electronics and rechargeables. Pretty good foot box down there. Nice sitting up headroom. And then right outside the door, I have this for all of my gear right here. And this whole thing weighs like next to nothing compared to like the $250 tents, the $350 tents that weigh, 2 pounds. This weighs like just over 2 pounds, and it's crazy. Something else that I'm doing is my bag is the Recon 2, and it's rated down to 23 degrees. Well, it's going to get to right there, like right at 23, 24, 25 degrees. And sleeping bags aren't really good for what they're rated to. So with this one, I have the bivy also. So the bivy, super thin, but it traps the heat in there really well. So I'll have plenty of protection here. And then the Thermarest is a really decent pad. Oh, something else too. So I've been talking about how I haven't seen a bear, and there's no bears in Florida, and I hiked the whole Florida trail, never saw one, and I've done so many paddling trips, and like I spend a lot of time out here. I've never seen one. I figured I'm jinxing myself, and eventually I'm gonna come across a mama and her cubs, and there's gonna be a real situation. So I did go down and get myself some bear spray from Bill Jackson's down in St. Pete, Clearwater area. So now I know I'm jinxing myself. So I figured I better get this and have it just in case. Maybe this unjinxes me now that I have it. And now, although I've never seen a bear with my eyes, I've heard them with my ears. And I'm gonna tell a story tonight that I'm gonna read it from my blog when I was hiking the Florida trail. So I don't wanna mess this one up because it's a pretty good story. So if you're skipping through this and you're listening to this right now, if you get to the nighttime scene and you see me telling a story, listen to it. It's gonna be good, I promise you. All right, so I know the tripwire's here, but when it gets dark, I won't be able to see it as well. So I hung my socks on it and then laid the palm fronds down. So now this is like my door. So I know where to step. All right, so I'm gonna eat and relax. I think everything's pretty much set up. I'm good to go. There's not a lot of signal out here, so I made sure I could get to my blog to find that story. I didn't want to read it in detail, but I did skim it to make sure, where I wanted to be. And, oh, it's so good. It's just bringing back so many memories. Good stuff. All right, well, I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna have this MRE with white chicken chunks. It's a big, hefty one, so I think I'll have snacks for later too. Oh yeah, I do have snacks. M&M's from 1997. They're gonna be delicious. Actually, it says eat before October of 2022, so those are plenty good. Yeah, so I just checked weather because it's a little concerning. I mean, it's really kind of ripping through, and it says it's blowing at 15. I didn't check the gusts, but clearly gusts are more than 15. But by midnight, the winds will be half of what they are now. So just got to make it till midnight when the below freezing temperatures come, and then the wind will die down. All right, well, I'm going ahead and climbing in and putting on some nice wool socks and getting warm here because that temperature is dropping fast. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, I was out there. I went for a little hike and just hanging out, and I was thinking, man, I should make some tea. And I sat down and I was like, you know what? Right when I stopped moving, I was like, yeah, it's cold. All right, I'm getting in my tent. It's early, but yeah, it's okay. All right, well, the sun's starting to set. It's down below the horizon, so we're just in that twilight hour. I have this little lantern going in here, and it's putting off pretty good heat. It's not so much that it's going to affect the material here, but it's creating a nice warm pocket of air around here. So I think I'm going to sleep really well tonight. This little lantern I know will burn for off these little tiny canisters for about 24 hours, so no worries there. I got plenty of light, plenty of heat, and it's going to be a good night. So stories coming up. All right. So it's definitely dark out. The sounds out there, the animals were going wild for a minute. Like there were sounds all over the place, like the animals were calling. Now it's dead calm out there. So I think now's a pretty good time for storytelling. But I am cold. I'm gonna make me some tea real quick. I think that'll be good. All right, get this water nice and warm. Just need one tea bag. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, slid it outside for now. Yeah. All right, so the setup for this story is when I was hiking the Florida Trail, I was by myself for the first long time. I intermixed every now and then with some thru hikers, but for the majority of the time I was by myself. And at nighttime, the animals are just drawn to me, like the raccoons, the armadillos, and like just the things that move around your camp at night. You know, I just seem to have a lot of them. So this particular night, I had gotten to a lake that is one of my favorite spots in Florida. I haven't been to it in a couple years, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. So this story takes place at a place where I felt almost my most comfortable, you know, at a spot in Florida. So here, let's get into this. All right. So I did a daily blog. So all of my posts were written like right when they were happening, so I could post them and then go on to the next day. And so this was written partially while it was happening and then finished up in the morning before I took off. After posting last night's blog, I used my barely there signal to check Facebook to see what's new on the Florida Trail page. So the latest and hottest news for the whole 1,100 miles of the trail is that Juniper Prairie is closed due to aggressive bears in that area, and a reroute was posted to avoid the densely bear-populated area. Can you believe that my destination for today just so happens to be Juniper Springs in the Juniper Prairie? Well, after finding out I was camped 10 miles south of the closed zone, and after listening to the dogs chasing something, okay, so I kind of jumped ahead there, but as I was setting up my camp, I could hear these dogs like just moving down through the woods and then coming towards me. And after listening to the dogs chase something wild around the lake near me, they were hot on something's tail. They were all whoop, 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 and they were chasing something. I walked over to the concrete outhouse and tried to figure out exactly where the dogs were at. So this lake is absolutely gorgeous, and there just so happens to be a concrete outhouse. Not a lot of them on the trail, but there was one at this place. There were two groups of dogs. One group was at the opposite end of the lake, and I wasn't really concerned with them. but the dogs on my end of the lake were well within 75 yards of me, just past the dense underbrush, and they were hot on something's trail. Things eventually calmed down after a while, and I didn't post on here, but during this time, messaging my friend Josh, and telling him what's happening. You know, I just needed to talk to somebody because the dogs were running like so close to me. It was crazy, and they were chasing something. Things eventually calmed down after a while, so I went back to my hammock that was hung about 100 yards from the outhouse to warm back up. Well, I wasn't under my sleeping bag for more than 10 minutes when a commotion at the water's edge made my skin crawl. There was a single dog and what I'm assuming was a bear in the water that were duking it out, and I could tell by the dog's whimpers that the bear had the best of him. And this fight, you could hear the water splashing. I'm close. I'm camped right on the lake's edge, and they're in the water splashing, and I could hear the dog is just getting beat up. It was crazy. So I jumped out of my hammock and started making my way to the protection of the outhouse, all the while keeping my new 400 lumen flashlight scanning the brush line between the water and me. So I had to upgrade my flashlight because I had a single AAA single LED light that I was using, and I just couldn't see the animals, so I upgraded to a 400 lumen. So I could hear the dog whining where the fight took place, and I could hear the bear making his victory lap down along the shore, and his big paws were splashing the shallow water with each step. I made my way to the outhouse, and I kept scanning the brush line, looking for the bear, but I think the bear ended up walking down to the beach area, which was just around the bend for an easy exit. The dog, still alive, wasn't doing well, so I was calling for it to come out of the water, or the brush, so I could try and help him out. So yeah, the dog was just, you could tell it was mortally wounded, just crying, and I was trying to coax it out of the water, but I knew that bear was there too. So, or whatever, I never saw it. I'm assuming it was a bear. And I couldn't put myself in that danger too, so I was staying by the outhouse trying to call the dog out, and he couldn't. My plan was to try and help him out, or at least see if it had a collar to call the owner, because sometimes the hunters run their dogs and they have collars. But I also wasn't going to go in to the water after it with an angry bear in the very near proximity. I called for the dog for about 5 minutes, but the whining slowly quieted down, and I'm assuming the dog passed away. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I slept in the outhouse last night. It was like a jail cell, pretty clean, with about 8x8 of concrete living space, a toilet in one corner, and a long empty space on the far side to lay down on. I had went back to my hammock after the dog died, and the bear was gone, to retrieve my sleeping bag, my whoopee, and my underquilt, and snuck back to my own private prison. Last night I slept about as poorly as you would imagine on the concrete floor of an outhouse, but it was safe, and with that comes comfort and peace of mind. As morning came, I took my time packing up my outhouse camp, and then I went over and packed up the remaining pieces of my original camp. Then I went and looked for the dog. The shallows he fought the bear in were overgrown with about 20 yards of scrub brush and weeds, and I just couldn't see much past the first few yards in. I gave up the search after not hearing or seeing anything and headed onto the trail for the next 12 miles to Juniper Springs. So that's it. That was, I think, the closest I've been to a bear in Florida, and I still haven't seen one, but that night was crazy. Just listening to that fight, and it was no more than, I don't know, maybe 50 yards away at most, but definitely closer in that general area. It was crazy. It was wild. So that's my bear story. All right. Well, I am going to drink my tea and then go to bed. So I'll see you all in the morning. All right. Just woke up, a little uncomfortable. Temperature's dropping. I checked. We're still above freezing though. It's showing like 35 or something. But the condensation in my tent, turn that light up a little bit. I don't know if you can see this. Oh yeah, that's better. But yeah, you can see the condensation is really building up. So I'll see what happens. But I'm not freezing. Like, I'm not crazy cold, but it's definitely chilly. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, 11 o'clock at night. Sound like something walking, but I think it's from the wind. All right, well, I'm going back to bed. Turn this light off. All right, so it's about 6 in the morning, 6:30. 7. It's 7 in the morning. But I just woke up. There's so much moisture in here. Let's see if you can see this. It's just wet. But I checked the temperature on my phone. It says it's 25 degrees. The real feel is 19. So, I mean, it is chilly right now, obviously. But I slept well. I did have to put my puffy pants on, and then I have my puffy jacket I'm using as a top quilt, just to cover up that little opening in the top of the sleeping bag. But yeah, I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit before I actually get up. But yeah, I'm not shivering cold, it's just chilly. So yeah, not too bad. Oh yeah, it's so late in the morning. It was cold. I was just laying here watching TikToks of it. All right, well, time to get up. All right, I'm gonna get a little coffee, a little something to eat, pack this up, and get to hiking. All right. I like my inflatable pillows. Yeah, I have that snack, that pound cake or whatever it was from yesterday's MRE. I'm going to use that as my breakfast. So I got the instant coffee. It's just in this little bag. Figured that was about a serving size. All right, this had time to cool off. I took down the perimeter tripwire. So that's down and cleaned up. Oh, that coffee and tea, that's interesting. I'll drink it. My little breakfast. The MRE food doesn't look very good, but I like it. I have my trash hanging in the tree right here. And I looked over and there's something red and white. What is that? That's a Mylar balloon. What are the odds that that floated down right at a campsite? Dead, but still standing, supported by his brother. All right, I take this fleece off. I'm not sweating yet, but I can tell I will soon if I keep hiking at the pace I'm hiking at, wearing this thing. All right, back in business. It's a little cool, but this is better than being hot. All right, well, we made it back to the main trail that leads to the car. Let me show you my beautiful face. When I was hiking in, I actually lost the top cover to the GoPro, and I found it, so that's good. But this was a great trip. Checking out the old cemetery was pretty cool. I ran the tripwire around my camp, so if anything came in, I was good. I think it was so cold, all the Florida animals were bundled up somewhere trying to get warm, so really nothing was gonna come into camp last night. Testing out the new tent was awesome. That thing is so light to carry and sets up really easy. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That moisture on the inside, a little concerning. I'm gonna have to try it out on a warmer day and see what happens. And I think when I made the tea at night and all that steam came up, I think that was a big factor in it. Oh, and if you like this video, please click the like. And if you like the content that I'm producing, subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, it's free. It's good for the channel. The more subscribers I have, the more the algorithm pushes my content out. So just click that button if you haven't yet, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.